Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And a funny thing happened a few months ago that we completely missed, and I think most of the media missed because they didn't really broadcast it. That banned episode of Community where they had the quote-unquote blackface Drow.
Yes.
Well, it's actually out on streaming again. And people are just starting to figure this out. Like it got snuck back onto Peacock, I guess. And remember the big, huge deal they had about this when they banned it?
They had to make a big deal. They had to be like, we're taking it because it's racist stereotypes and, you know, all that crap. And they made a big drag it through the mud thing.
A huge deal. It was a huge deal. And apparently it was on, I think when it was on Hulu is when they actually pulled the episode down. But pretty much like the entire cast of Community came out and said, yeah, this episode is not racist. It was a joke. It wasn't meant to be racist at all. And everybody understood the joke. They understood the assignment. And they still pulled it down because of overcorrection, because of not just Black Lives Matters, but the whole conversation around Dungeons and Dragons that was going on at the time, which was the Drow and the orcs are racist tropes. And they're stand-ins for real people. And, this whole thing culminated with that episode being pulled down. And now it's back, but you're not going to see all these outlets telling you that it's back. Because
it's been back and they didn't say anything.
Yeah, it was a victory for them. It was like, yes, take down the racist D&D episode. They're not going to tell you that it's back because it's been sitting out there for, I guess, like 8 months now. And the only article...
long.
It's been a while. One of the only articles I could find on it was the one you sent over, which was from yesterday. That, oh, by the way, guys, you can still watch this episode. They just kind of snuck it back on Peacock. So
in the show, Chang's character, Chang, put the black Drow makeup on with the white wig. And it was supposed to be kind of like in Tropic Thunder, where it's like, wow, that's gone too far.
They actually called him out in the episode.
Yeah.
Too. So it wasn't like it was like they were condoning it or whatever.
No.
They made it very clear that it was like, oh, hey, yeah, blackface. Yeah, not cool. Not cool. Now, ironically, or unironically, this is how the Drow looked in the books. And he was just trying to dress the part because this is what they actually looked like in the books. And they were based on dark fairies. And everybody was okay with it for years. Like nobody that played these games thought that the Drow were stand-ins for real people. And they were, famously on the cover of, different boxes, D&D games and books and posters and whatever. And then suddenly 2019, 2020, 2021, everything was offensive. Everything was racist. Everything from, more than 10 years ago was a problem. Actually, Community itself would not get made today.
Oh, no. We've talked about that many times. It's like there's a lot of things in there that were like completely predicted, the insanity, but they would not allow it today.
Yeah.
It's such a good show. And
it's a diverse show, but people are treated like people and they make fun of themselves and each other. And but you're not allowed to be funny. And I would say Community was one of the last like truly funny sitcoms before everything went off the rails and got, super PC or whatever. So anyway, let's talk about this before you get into it any further.
Oh, too late.
We're into it pretty far. Before you get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You will get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
Go out to Kickstarter, please, and check out the Shadow Binders Hard Enamel Pin Set. Ends in a couple days. The very first Nidaria Entertainment branded product that we're producing. We have a couple of quick, easy to fulfill Kickstarters we're going to do in the next couple months, and then we're going to start getting into bigger projects, including Crimson Wren 2 and some games, and it should be a lot of fun. So anyway, this whole thing, we've covered it at length. We've had multiple hit pieces written on blogs about how D&D is racist, and unfortunately, Wizards of the Coast took all of this all of these controversies to heart and started altering the books and making the orcs kinder and gentler and Mexican.
I know, right? It's like,
and the Drow are now purple, and they have a Dritz costume Spirit Halloween, and it's just a white guy wearing a elf costume. I'm like, this looks like a Tolkien elf. This doesn't even look like a Drow.
It's not the same thing, no.
But we even had Yvette Nicole Brown, who plays Shirley, who's actually pretty progressive, and she was even trying. I mean, we did a video on that. That's what we did the video. It was like 2 years ago. She was even like, I don't understand why this episode is banned. Like, we made it very clear it was not okay. That was the joke. It was just a joke. What the hell?
Well, it's like, did they pull the Golden Girls episode down for a while because they had the face masks on?
Oh yeah, the Golden Girl. God, you know how ridiculous you have to be to cancel the Golden Girls? I mean,
yeah, like they pulled the episode down because they had the face masks on, and it made them have the black face, and the one girl's son was dating a black woman, and their mom was mad or something, and I was like, it wasn't the way they were portraying it, but they were overcorrecting, and it was insane and stupid.
Yeah, there was this, and again, I believe it was Hulu was the first streaming service to pull.
Oh, that makes sense. It was Disney.
Yeah. So, but what this tells me is this is another indicator that people are getting over it, right? But the thing is, they're not going to make a big deal about it. They're just going to dump the episode back on streaming and not make a big deal.
They returned the Golden Girls episode too, I believe, a while ago. Yeah. Yeah,
because people are like, this is stupid. I think most people understand if something was a product of its time, or they understand the intention, because intent does matter when you're talking about stuff like this.
Ironically, Tropic Thunder did not get removed or canceled.
No, and it shouldn't get removed. I mean, one, Tropic Thunder is one of the funniest damn movies ever made. But two, it was like the intention was to parody Hollywood and to parody how ridiculous everything was. And to parody white people pretending to be to be minorities and, boost their careers off of that and whatever. But this come from comicbook.com. It said, time has been kind to community. The series has steadily earned the ahead of its time label.
Yep.
That fans have handed over the years. The cult classic sitcom launched careers, is remembered as one of the smartest comedies on TV in the 2000s, 2010. It would not get made today.
No.
I don't think it would get made today. But they said, community pushed boundaries. One of those boundary pushing situations resulted in one of the show's very best episodes getting banned from streaming services, but it's back. And it's been back, and nobody talked about it.
It's called Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. It was the 14th episode in the second season. And they try to cheer up a depressed student by playing Dungeons and Dragons with him. And, he shows up in the face paint.
He shows up in the face because that's what the Drow look like. That's what they look like in the books. Advanced D&D. We're talking Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, first and second edition. That's literally what the Drow look like. And it didn't seem to be a problem until very recently. But it was actually directed by Avengers Endgame's Joe Russo, which I did not know. So when you read the description of AD&D, you might wonder why it was banned early in the episode when the campaign first begins. Dr. Ken's Chang appears at the table completely covered in dark black face paint, face and all. He is very into his character and claims to be a dark elf, shocking the viewers.
But that was what a dark elf looked like.
That's what they look like. That was the joke, right? In 2020, yes, of course it's 2020, when the entertainment world was reckoning with racial missteps from its past.
No, it wasn't racial missteps from its past. It was ridiculous idiots, mostly white Karens, having meltdowns about stupid things because they were trying to out, white savior each other.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. But they said, Netflix and Hulu pulled it. The dark elf costume was seen by some as a depiction of blackface. By some stupid people. Though he wasn't actually mocking black or African-American people. His costume was even called out in a joke within the episode, with Shirley asking everyone in the room if they were going to ignore the hate crime that his makeup created, and that she was Karening out on it, right? It was not like, oh, yeah, hey, it's great. You just,
Right. Yeah, they mentioned Tropic Thunder. Same. Yeah, that's what I think of when I think of this is Tropic Thunder.
Yeah. There's the fact that the episode itself is an incredibly meaningful look into bullying, and removing it didn't help anyone.
Exactly. It's a good episode.
The beloved community episode isn't hidden from the world of streaming. All six seasons of the series were added to Peacock, and shows later removed from both Netflix and Hulu, and they kept it intact. But you're not hearing about it. That's what's so weird. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying they're trying to sneak it back on, but they didn't make a big deal about it
No,
because I think they knew if they did.
The white Karens, again,
Yeah.
and it's like, you overcorrected, but you won't admit you overcorrected. You have, by admitting you're overcorrected, you have to admit you were wrong. You have to admit you went off the deep end. You have to admit that these people took everything way too far and it was stupid. And then you have to admit that that was wrong. And they don't want to do that. So they're just going to pretend it didn't happen and, not mention that, oh yeah, well, they put that back up. Maybe we shouldn't have overcorrected. They're not going to say anything because then they have to admit that they're wrong.
That's what's going to happen as we come out of the woke era, and we are definitely coming out of the woke era, and how. I mean, some would say we're coming out of it too damn fast. But as we are coming out of it, you're going to see a lot of these companies just quietly course correct and not call attention to it, because calling attention to it is what got the mob riled up in the first place. Like, I don't think nobody would have paid any attention to this episode if it wasn't already a stupid controversy with racism in D&D and all that. And then they started looking for shit to cancel.
They've been doing. And the thing is, all they had to say was, we're not removing this episode because it was clearly, we addressed it in the episode that it wasn't okay that he did that. But it was about bullying, and those lessons are far more important and more relatable to most people because they were taking something out of context. And that's all they had to do. But no, they bent the knee immediately because we had to make a big deal about it to show everybody how diverse and inclusive we are, even though the whole show was diverse and inclusive.
It was probably one of the most diverse and inclusive sitcoms ever, and it didn't call attention to it.
I wouldn't say ever, but yeah, it was definitely diverse and inclusive. It was funny. It was they covered topics that were important in an entertaining way, organic diversity, everything that people wanted.
Yeah.
Of course, they want to bury that because it makes them look bad.
Yes. So there we go, guys. You can watch the quote-unquote banned episode all you want on Peacock.
Watch it 10 times in a row.
Watch it 10 times in a row.
Middle finger the idiots. I said finger the idiots. Yes, I did.
Okay. All right. That's another banned episode. Anyway, we're going to wrap this up. Let's wrap it up. Again, check out the Shadow Binders campaign on Kickstarter. You got a couple days yet. Link in the description. And thank you so much for listening. We'll talk later.
Bye.